Good morning, it's Jeff, and gosh, not Horizon's making me do research, but I am officially in my Briar era. Here we go with another episode, and we see that Area Zero has an air of mystery. It's like that cup of coffee, the group's palpable excitement as they make their way to Crystal Pool. The textures on and underneath the water are divine as they depict the glowing crystals of its namesake. It seems in-game, Carmine would be your escort, but in anime, Freed's ruined that opportunity. But they still make it to the water, which seems shallow enough for the Mons to have some playtime in. And while they're goofing off, we learn the true depths of the water when a Milotic appears. Horizon seems to me like a series that listens to its audience, but also plays it safe. I imagine that this series shakes things up so much that they try and balance it out with all these fan-favorite Pokemon. Think about it, even Freed, he has a Pikachu, the mascot, and Charizard, a mascot-worthy Pokemon. As well, two of the Focus legendaries, Entei and Rayquaza, are some of the most iconic. Then Gibeon has a dang shiny Zygarde. So while the OG cast is gone, they're still able to, I guess, capitalize off those memories. Once Dot completes her Pokedex check, we are on a rollout with these wild terastallizations. This one being a ghost type is also some spooky foreshadowing. Milacross makes the first move, and we get a 3-on-1. This is one graceful Savage. It's elegant, but it's still frightening to think about that its lure of Florigato into the water could have drowned her. Well, you know, in another series. This episode really feels like a combination of a few things. For example, Dot showing off that fancy footwork that she developed against Larry. Liko shows off that flower bud skill that didn't get her far with Grusha, but is still being fine-tuned. And they use it like a lifeline. Then we get Crocolore and Milotic in a battle of fierce vocals. It is one intense battle of disarming voice. Eventually though, they settle down and it becomes a calming duet more beautiful than Lugia's song. Once it's settled, they finally meet up with Briar, who's been somehow located by Freed. Initially I thought the Milotic was Briar's, but no, it was just an angry game mechanic. Speaking of the games, it's also interesting to speculate when Horizons takes place. In Scarlet Violet, you meet Terapagos at the end of the Indigo Disc, but this Terapagos requires much more screen time than that and has been here ever since the pilot. It all adds to that feeling of mystery that's been present since the first episode too. Briar seems like a pretty straightforward character, but oh, does she have her passions. Like, she really lights up when it comes to her research. Although we've left the academy, the fun and studious times have not stopped. They all get situated, and this scene is really elevated by the warm notes and colors depicted by the sunset. Really nice way to chill and unwind after the hype. Now that there's time, they fill Briar in on what they know about Lucius and their journey to Laqua. And in return for this info, Briar whips out the Scarlet Book, which accentuates her outfit, but also we finally get to flip through it some more. Inside, we find a man named Heather, or Heath, his Cyclizar, and the exposition team. These people were also explorers in their own right, and they were the ones who discovered Terapagos in a cave lined with crystal. It actually reminds me of a similar group that once discovered another ancient Pokemon. So Heath, having discovered Terapagos, also named it as such, and unfortunately not Paco! They continue comparing notes, and Liko lends over her grandma's adventure book. It's actually pretty neat to see all these items from 15, 30 episodes ago become relevant again. Not only that, but the medley of past and present, Liko's ancestors, Briar's ancestors, and how they're all linked through one blue reptile, and the various forms of said reptilian, including its terrestrial one, which Briar is familiar with. But other than that, she really doesn't know much. There's a few topics that she really just throws her hands up at, like we're all still pretty in the dark about what Licorium is. All we know is that Spinel probably shouldn't have it. If this uncertainty brings anything though, it is thrill. Now, Briar's gotten even more psyched to validate Heath. The air of uncertainty is really thick around Crystal Pool. In fact, I'd say it's almost menacing. Terapagos hollering out for Lucius, the intensity of the crew, as well as all of the eyes that are on them. Eventually, the RBTs do make it back to the ship to discuss their next move, and how to find the remaining 3 heroes. Everyone's present except for Dot, who's out studying Pokemon, when she comes across a Hisuian Growlithe. And did somebody say fan favorites? This one belongs to Parin, but she probably won't give him away. Going out solo to register random Pokemon is not something Dot's really done outside of class, so to me it just feels like an excuse to have this encounter. Even so, a fateful chance encounter is sweet, and it's so adorable to see how flustered Dot gets around new people. It's almost how I would have expected Liko to behave towards the beginning of the series. She gets to show Parin her target, who then gets a real spark in her eye. If Dot's gonna find the warrior Basagiri, we've got to make sure she's ready, so Parin and Leafeon are up to that task. For a quick introductory battle, there really is some decent choreography. The swift movements do a great job showing off Quacker's agility as it evades. Actually, Quaxwell's feeling itself so much, it even picks up the super effective move Air Cutter. Those nimble movements coupled with the element of surprise manages to even award Dot a dub. Now, since Dot's proven herself a worthy adversary, seems like Parin's got something good to share with her. Ideally a snapshot and coordinates. Well, it seems like we'll find out soon enough since Parin is our latest honorary Volt Tackler. I can feel the depths of the lore as if it was beneath Crystal Pool. It's no secret how story-driven Horizons is. How nearing 100 episodes episodes in, there's still mysteries unfolding around Terrapagos. After decades of series that more or less linearly follow the game's story, it's neat to shake it up and add to the questions that Horizons asks. It makes the most sense to me that Horizons is after the main story of the game, since much of the history has already been recorded. What's also so cool to me is all the independent parties working in tangent. The Volt Tacklers, the Explorers, Diana, Briar. I do wish Briar could have shared a bit more with us, gave us a bit more bang for our buck, but I would say the stuff with Heath was satisfying enough. It all just feels to be setting up something climactic, the likes of which we may not have seen before in any Poke. For all that setup and intrigue, giving this one a B.